this spot, we're going to be having a look at DC Superheroes Parasite. If we have a look at the packaging before we look at the figure itself. Look at you guys. Mattel once again has given us, has been generous enough to give us the exact same backdrop. I guess it's an ongoing trend now. So it's the same backdrop as the Brainiac, the Cyborg Superman, the Mongol. I think the only one that's different is actually the Steel. But all the other figures in this wave seem to have this green Krypton or Kryptonite exploding backsplash. It makes the packaging look nice and it makes the characters stand out. But I guess for somebody who uses these dioramas, it would be nice probably if they gave you a different diorama for each figure. And the fact that they didn't in this wave, a little disappointing. I don't really use the dioramas, so I'm not going to lose much sleep over it. But on the back of the packaging, the other figures in the wave, now once again, just to confuse everybody, they've given us the alternative packaging. And again, like as far as I can tell, this set was all marketed and released at the same time. However, unlike the other set, the card on this figure or on this set includes Superman, the blue costume Supergirl, Steel. We have the lava repaint Doomsday. I really don't know why. Why would they do that? To me, that's probably the worst repaint I've seen. Like, who's gonna buy a lava repaint Doomsday? I don't know. Parasite, and then we also have the initial Bizarro. It is strange because I'm not 100% sure, but as far as I can tell, the Superman and the Bizarro in these incarnations never were released in this wave. Now, granted, we had a Kal-El Superman with the metallic blue, and we also had the black costume Superman with the silver emblem and the silver cape, and we also had the Bizarro #1. But as far as I can tell, these figures never came out in this wave, the non-necklaced Bizarro and then the original costume Superman. So I'm not really quite sure what they've done here. But there's packaging on Parasite. I think let's not wait any longer. Let's get this guy opened up and we will get a closer look at Parasite. Stay tuned. I have no idea what's going on. So now that we have Parasite out of his package, I think the one thing you'll probably notice the most out of this figure is just the preposterous sculpt on this guy. Not necessarily it's a bad thing. I mean, it's different. I'll definitely say it's different. But for anyone that says that DC Superheroes figures and DC Universe figures use the exact same mold, I say check this guy out. This guy is nothing like the other figures. The sculpt on him is just obscure. But definitely a weird looking figure. I mean, it's I like the figure, but I will say my biggest problem with this figure, and it's nothing more than just the way I perceive it. The biggest problem I have with this figure is, after watching the Superman animated series and the Justice League cartoon, very similar to my thoughts on Brainiac, I now kind of have a set idea, at least in this noggin, as to what Parasite looks like. And now, unfortunately, I think of Parasite as what we saw in Justice League. You know, with the red eye, not the red eyes, but like he was all purple and he had the straps and everything, but his face was a lot different. The downside of course to that is when you get a certain character, and it's really any character, when you have a certain look of a character stuck in your mind and you see another interpretation of it, it's kind of hard, kind of throws you for a loop for the first little bit. And I definitely think this Parasite's that same idea. I have to say though, now that I've got him out of the packaging, I think I like him a lot more than I did in the package. When I picked up the whole wave, so that's basically why I got all the figures. But I think when I was looking at the packaging on Parasite, the figure just, I'm like, the figure really didn't do anything for me. And I think now that I've actually taken him out of the packaging, he's warming up. And I think I'm liking him a little more than I did before. But he's got this weird kind of fish piranha head going on there. I mean, certainly Parasite's changed a lot in the comics. So I would just chalk it up to an interpretation. Definitely a weird looking character though. Now, weird not necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It's just, it's different, I'll say that. Now, in the way of his articulation, he has articulation in the head. It doesn't really look like it's going to move anything more than left to right. He has articulation in the shoulder, in the arm, bicep. As you can see, his hand is sculpted. So, I mean, that's... Sometimes, you know what? Sometimes I prefer a sculpted hand if it looks like, you know, looks cool like this, versus a hand that, you know, you can open and close. Like a Marvel Legend, for example, is a good example where, you know, if there's articulation in the fingers, that's all nice. But I mean, if it makes the figure's hand look kind of silly, I almost prefer a sculpted hand instead, because at least you get more detailing. Same idea with this hand. I mean, there's no articulation, but I'm alright with that. Now, because he's posed weird, and the joint, I'm almost thinking if I'm not careful enough, this is going to break. But essentially, you would be able to bend at this shoulder as well. He also has articulation in the torso, in the waist. The leg can go out, which I'm still not a fan of that, but the leg can go out, it can go up back and forth. Rotation in the waist, or in the thigh. You can bend at the knee, and you can bend at the foot. He looks like he's sporting a rather interesting Ninja Turtle foot there. But, I mean, that's basically it for Parasite. I mean, it's definitely an interesting looking figure, that's for sure, and it doesn't look like any other figure from any wave of DC superheroes. So, I mean, that's a good selling point. I mean, it's definitely interesting. But, hope you guys enjoyed it. That was a toy spot on DC Superheroes Parasite. And with that, I'll see you guys next time.